Yeah.
Happy New Year, sweetheart.
Oh, it's so good to see you. And welcome to our guest, to our Healing Through Love show. So, today we are here as a social enterprise whose vision is to shift awareness on domestic and family violence within the community and to support survivors. Our mission is to provide family and domestic violence survivors with a soft place to land by offering advice and services available to them and their families.
Yes, and as well as the Healing Through Love show, we hold annual Pamper Days for survivors in South Australia, in Australia. So local businesses come together and they pay it forward by providing their services and their resources for the day so that our survivors can have a much needed day of healing and indulgence. And each week on the show, we interview experts and survivors who share their personal journeys and offer advice to those who have experienced abuse and maybe are coming out the other side, or they're already in a situation and they just need a bit of a helping hand.
Oh, it's so true because proximity is power, isn't it, Rose?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, Rose is going to disappear, but she's not going very far. Rose is our producer today, and I'm very excited to be working with Rose. If you're actually running any type of online program at all, a live event online, Rose is the person to speak out to. She not only produces, but she's also an event manager as well. So reach out to Rose. She's amazing. Rose will be back at the end because we're going to have a conversation about what's happening with Healing Through Love moving forward. And I'd like to welcome our special guest. So we've got a very special guest today, Lois Wagner, an amazing woman. And she's joining us from Johannesburg, South Africa. Now, it's 4:30 in the morning there, so I think she deserves extra credit just for being up at 4:30 in the morning. She's a speaker, a mentor, facilitator, and she runs Walking Without Skin and coaching conversations for change. So we're going to be hearing a lot more about that today. Her key message is about the power of forgiveness and be brave, and she's going to explain to us what that means. Today, Lois will talk with us about shifting from victim to survivor to thriver and beyond to freedom. And welcome. Hello.
Hi, thank you very much for having me, even though it's so early in the morning here.
I love it. So just so you know, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. So we're about to have lunch and you're about to have breakfast. But isn't that the beauty of the online world?
It's not even breakfast time yet. It's too early for that.
I love your smile. I love the energy that you bring to the room. You are an amazing woman who's had an amazing journey, and now you're doing that thing that we're put on this planet to do. You're paying it forward and making a difference for people in coaching and sharing your story from teenagers all the way through. Could we start with maybe telling, if it's okay, people a little bit about your story?
Sure. It's a lot of years ago now. I was around 40 years old, and I was working late one night in my courtyard of my little printing business when a stranger scaled an 8-foot wall and brutally attacked me. He attacked me with a screwdriver. I fought him with all the knowledge or lack of knowledge that I had. And unfortunately, I lost that fight. He overpowered me. He stabbed me numerous times. He tied me up. He raped me. He tied me up, and he left me to bleed to death. But fortunately, it didn't happen. I'm still here. So that is where the story really begins. It begins with having survived that particular terrifying and terrible event.
Absolutely. And, the fact that you fought so hard to is also an indication he left you there as well, rather than taking you to a second site, which for sure he would have taken your life. So congratulations for putting all that effort into the fight as well, because sometimes we need that in life, don't we? So now you're out the other side, and now you're in a position where you've forgiven the offender, and now this is one of the key lessons that you teach other people. Is that right?
That is right. So it was quite a journey to get to where I am, because at first, obviously, I was incredibly angry, as you can well imagine. And in South Africa, it was at the time when we were coming out of apartheid and moving into democracy, and we were changing the constitution, and they were looking for submissions for the constitution. So I wanted to change the world, and I became an activist. The man who raped me was out on bail for rape. And so I wanted to change the law. And so I lobbied and I petitioned and I marched, and it was in the days before the word rape was never discussed in polite circles. You just didn't talk about it. And so I was out there fighting the good fight, trying to change the world. And that ended up backfiring on me because I hadn't dealt with myself, with my own self-care. I hadn't dealt with the emotions and the trauma. I just went out to change the world. And as a result, it somatized into my body. And I had psychosomatic back problems that kept me bedridden for 6 months, 2 failed back operations. And there was nothing wrong with me. It was all in my head as a result of not dealing with my trauma at the time. And so that is when it first started dawning on me that you've got to deal with your trauma. You can't just brush it under the table or become an activist. Yes, being an activist is a good thing, but only when you've dealt with your own self-care. And so that's where it really began. My healing journey really began at that point.
Just that in itself is just a great lesson in light here for those who are suffering and you have had a traumatic experience, is for let your body be the guide to know that you need to dive deeper into this so that you can do the inner work to help the insides heal, not just the outsides.
Absolutely. You've got to deal with those emotions. You've got to you've got to divorce the event from the emotions and deal with the emotions on their own. If you don't do that, that is when the PTSD settles in, and you really have to do that self-love, that self-care.
I've got to ask, what's your favorite? Because Tuesday's all about self-care for us on the Thrive Tribe. What's your favorite way to do self-care, self-compassion?
I believe in writing and in speaking. And so writing is incredibly therapeutic, just to be able to express what you're feeling. And part of it as well is as you journal your thoughts and your emotions, you think, oh, I'm not getting any better. But if you go back and you look back at what you wrote 3 months ago, you say, wow, look how I have improved. So it's a lovely measure as well. So and it takes you away from the immediate problems that you're facing, and you can start working on what it is that is still bothering you.
Yeah, I love it. And, you also hit the nail on the head, Lois, with saying about forgiveness, because, it is one of the greatest acts of self-compassion is to start with forgiving ourselves and forgiving others so that we can move forward as well. It's a keystone for us to move forward as humans. Yeah.
Totally. But forgiveness, I've created a model where I take, as you mentioned in the introduction, where I take people from victim to thriver to survivor to freedom. And when you're in the victim, when you're still a victim, and even when you're a survivor, it's so difficult to forgive, because as a victim, you've got to deal with those emotions of anger and fear and depression. So how can you forgive? You're still trying to come to terms with what's happened. And then as a survivor, my definition of survivor, it's still a struggle. You've developed your resilience, and you've got yourself back to some kind of meaningful life, but life will never quite be the same. And you're still trying to make sense of it all and trying to get your life back into an even keel. So even as a survivor, you don't have the capacity to forgive. It's only when you've got the grit, and the grit is your passion and your perseverance and your persistence to forge forward to a new reality and to focus on a new future, that you can actually say, now I'm thriving, now I can forgive. So when people say, oh, how can you forgive? How could I forgive that rapist? He did something so terrible to me. How could I forgive him? But I couldn't. It took me 14 years to forgive him. And I wasn't ready. I was still trying to get my life back together. And it was only 14 years later that I had the strength to forgive myself, to forgive myself for not knowing how to fight, to forgive myself for drinking too much afterwards, for hating, to have feelings of hate. It doesn't serve anybody. It creates high blood pressure and stress in you. So you've got to forgive yourself for those emotions, and then to actually forgive the perpetrator. So what happened with me, I left the country. I was out the country for a year, and I was coming back for my first holiday 14 years later. And I don't know what prompted me, but I contacted the authorities. The rapist had been given a 25-year prison sentence. And I'd never in those 14 years once inquired as to his well-being or otherwise. And I decided to find out what his status was. I don't know why. And they advised me, I was going home for my first holiday, and they advised me that he was coming up for a parole hearing the day after I landed back in the country. It was such a coincidence. And then in addition, the law had just changed, allowing what they call victims of serious crime to attend parole hearings. And so the universe had spoken, it was all synchronistic. And so I had to go to the parole hearing, and I went to the parole hearing and I forgave him.
Wow, that's profound. And thank you for sharing that it took you some time to get there as well. I think when we're out the other side and we're helping people through the process, is that it seems to take forever, and we can tell them, look, it took you 14 years to get there, and to be, fill yourself with some self-compassion. It takes some time to work through the process. But look at that synchronicity in having that opportunity to be able to face the offender and forgive. That is so powerful.
Yeah. But it's also, I like to tell people, don't wait 14 years because you get so triggered from the events. He attacked me from behind, so if anybody walked behind me, I would jump and I would get a fright, and you get triggered by so many different things. And after I forgave, I've never once been triggered. And people need to understand that forgiveness is not condoning what the other person has done. You are bonded to that person. For 14 years, I was filled with hate and fear and all kinds of negative emotions. And when I forgave, all I did was break that bond that was tying me to him. It may have helped him, it may not have helped him, but it wasn't about him. It was about me. And the interesting part is the authorities told me they would let me know in 7 days if he got parole or not. And I just said, I don't want to know. I don't need to know, because that bond was so completely broken. I didn't walk out of that prison. I literally flew out of that prison completely free of that event.
That's so powerful. I love it. And so now, down at this end of the track, you're now running a training program, a coaching program, and you're also running a group without Walking Without Skin. Can you please explain what that's about, and the integration with your learnings and because what is Walking Without Skin?
Well, that's Walking Without Skin. That is my book, Walking Without Skin. And what it is, it started as a journal, and I started writing it the very night that I was attacked, because I had to tell people that this happens. It happens to ordinary people like me. And I started writing with every intention of publishing this book to tell the world that this terrible thing happens. But it took me 20 years to publish it. And so, because it started as a journal, and And it just shared all my experiences, all my emotions, all the journey of pain and healing and suffering and joy that came. And so it became a bit of a wada. So it was only when I forgave that I found a conclusion for the book. But then I still, I was now thriving in my new life, and I had other interests, and so it never got published. Anyway, so it got published 2 years ago now, and the name Walking Without Skin, it's all about being vulnerable, sharing, being authentic, and just the skin is what holds you together. It's where all your senses lie, and when you don't have that skin, you're just saying, I'm there, I'm out there. And so it became a book, it became my podcast, it became everything for me. But it's more than a journal now. And if I had published it as a journal, I don't think it would have had as much meaning as the book has now, because I've now interspersed it with the learning and the lesson and the journey. So it's part memoir and part self-help guide.
I love that. I love that. And how does Be Brave work into this process?
Well, I coach women to overcome their trauma. And there's so much, the statistics around the world say 1 in 3 women are abused. And I just thought one day, why am I helping women recover? We should stop it happening in the first place. And so I came up with the acronym of BRAVE, to teach boys and men and girls and women to be brave. And they're the qualities that remove toxic behaviors. So the B stands for boundaries, understand your boundaries, and share your boundaries. The R is respect those boundaries. The A is ask, get agreement. The V is values, know your and other people's values, and stay with people with the same values. And E is, E is about equality. So I want everybody in the world to be brave.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And with that very strong lesson in there about forgiveness as well. And just what a wonderful journey to have written a book. And it's taken you 20 years. What advice would you give to people who've had a traumatic experience? What advice would you give to them about getting it out there and getting it into a book? Do you find that whole process healing?
For me, it was healing, and I'm very public and very outspoken, and each person to their own. If you don't want to speak, don't. If you don't want to share your story, don't. But do share it with somebody. Share it with a friend, a relative, a therapist, a healer, your dog, your cat. But do share your story, but write as well. And maybe it turns into a book or a memoir or even a novel. But writing, just start writing, get a journal. And in terms of forgiveness, I always say start practicing forgiveness now. Don't wait until you've got a reason to forgive. Start, it's a habit. Make it a habit. So every day, we all keep gratitude journals these days. Add to your gratitude journal and have a forgiveness journal. 3 things every day to forgive yourself for. I forgive myself for burning the toast. I forgive myself for pushing the snooze alarm. I forgive myself for shouting at the dog for eating my slipper. Little things that you don't think you actually need forgiveness. And then 3 things that you forgive somebody else for. You forgive your dog for eating the slipper. You forgive your friend for forgetting to phone you on your birthday. Or you forgive the husband who forgets to bring the milk home. And so little insignificant, relatively insignificant things. And the more you practice it, and it becomes a habit and it becomes part of you. So when you're faced with the big, unforgivable event, it's actually very easy.
I love that. That is fantastic. People frequently ask, how do you forgive? Have you got some language that we can help the audience with that today? Like, how do you forgive?
Well, I've got a 12-step process on how to forgive, and it starts with the writing and the speaking, and then it's got the practice, the habit forming of forgiveness. But it is, when I forgave, I did research, and I created this long speech, which was too academic and too impersonal. But at the end of the day, what I did, I just something to the effect, I can't remember the exact words offhand, but I looked at the rapist and I said to him, I compassionately and completely forgive you from my higher self to your higher self, and I take back my power. And I released the whole thing. So it's about also, like in the court of law, you have your impact statement. It's also good to share the impact. This is what your abuse did to me. This is what the rape did to me. I landed up hospitalized and in bed for 6 months as a result of that. I lost my business as a result of that rape. The business went bankrupt. So it's good to tell the person that this is what happened and this is the impact of what you did, and then release it and let it go. And if you don't do it face to face, you can do it. You can do it virtually. You can do it. Just write it on a piece of paper, burn it, send it to the ether. You don't have to see the person.
Oh, I love it. It's fantastic. The book sounds fascinating. I haven't had the chance to read it. How do people get hold of the book, Walking Without Skin?
It's available on Amazon.
Oh, excellent. That's fantastic. And you've got a website as well?
Yes, walkingwithoutskin.com is the website.
Oh, there we go. Running across the bottom of the screen as we speak. Lois, Rose is so organised with this stuff. And there is also Lois's LinkedIn as well. And we'll pop them, obviously, in the chat as well, in the description. And we're broadcasting live to Facebook and also to YouTube as well. So we'll share that link with you. Lois, do you have any closing words for our audience today, how they can move forward?
Well, I want to say two things. What they can do is it's on my webpage, they can contact me and I can give them a free discussion on where they are on their healing journey and what are the next steps they should take. So they're welcome to contact me for that. And I invite everybody to learn to forgive so that they can fly free.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Your story is absolutely beautiful and totally resonates with me, Lois. My son's little mantra, the little thing that you see that reminds you of a person who's passed, is a butterfly. So I absolutely love that. And my beautiful baby boy committed suicide at 17, and the very first thing that I did was forgave him, and that began my healing journey. Without that one moment of self-compassion, I wouldn't be able to be here today. So forgiveness is so powerful for ourselves and for others. And I love your acronym BRAVE, and I love the fact that you're getting to the root cause. We're actually not just speaking to the ladies who are affected, and gentlemen as well, but also speaking to what's creating the challenge to begin with. Because if we start there, we can really make a shift in this, and it can be a different world. You're doing great work, and I'm looking forward to following you moving forward and inappropriately watching everything that you're doing. So I've liked all of your pages, and I'm following you on LinkedIn as well. It's been such a privilege and a pleasure, and I really do love your 3 things to forgive every day for yourself and three things for others to forgive. If we can add those to our practices, wow, imagine what your forgiveness muscle is going to look like. And exactly what Lois says, don't wait for the big one, forgive now. Make it a daily practice. It really does make a difference. I love the work that you're doing. It's such a privilege and a pleasure to have you here on the show. And just seeing your smile, and you resonate such a fabulous frequency, you can tell that you really do make a difference for so many people in this world.
Thank you. Thank you for your show and all the great work that you are doing as well.
Oh, blessings. Thank you so much for being with us, Lois. Yay. Bye for now. We've got Rose popping back on. Hey, Rose, how are you? Look at that. Such a slick presentation on and off. She's just got to organize, guys. I think I did blow her trumpet before. Rose is an amazing producer and runs all of the things that happen behind the scenes. So if you're a person who needs to get your word out there and tech's not your friend, Rose certainly is. Oh, so Rose, I'm so glad that we're back to, well, we didn't even really take a break. We didn't even miss a beat. We've had a show every Tuesday, even during the holidays. So well done to us. We've got some major events coming up, which we'll be talking about soon. And so Rose, so tell us a little bit about Be Live, the app, because we've got people that want to know. Oh, Rose, you're on mute.
Okay, I'm not that. I forgot. I keep forgetting to take myself off mute because I don't want people to hear me yelling at my husband in the background.
We're so evolved.
Anyway, Be Live TV is an incredible platform. I have just started live streaming to YouTube as of today. However, today's episode won't go there because it takes 24 hours to get approval from YouTube to be able to do that. So next week, crossing fingers, it will be live on YouTube on our channel at Healing Through Love. And I just love it. It's great. And you can do to Facebook, you can do to YouTube, you can do to make your own. I think there's others that you can do. So love it.
It's across many applications. So I love it because it's simple. If you're tech adverse, you can do your branding very easily. It's easy for your guests to come on to do a podcast. It's easy to do a presentation in a training session. It's a very easy application to use. So we love Be Live for promoting our show, and they're one of our major sponsors. And our other major sponsor is My Time TV. So this platform here is across many different applications, and it has a Facebook page. And from there we stream. It's like 24-hour TV. And we have lots of different channels. So everything from psychic healings to education, you name it, it's all there. So if you're looking at doing something online, look for Be Live, and also reach out to My Time TV. It's a great application to share your information. We love being here every week. This is the Healing Through Love show, and we interview beautiful people that are making a difference in this space of moving forward and education in and around family and domestic violence, and just really showcasing people that have, aside from Rose and myself, that have been through these traumatic experiences and are at that space where we're now thriving and able to actually help others do the same. So we say proximity is power, and it's so true that if this is the place for you, we'd love to see you again next Tuesday, and we've got some live events coming up as well. Rose, anything from you before we go, because I think we've got 30 seconds.
Yes, I love your smiling face. I love spending time with you on Tuesdays. We don't see each other enough because we live in two different areas of the country. So
but that's
it's a wonderful thing. I love it. I get to talk to you.
We are working together on a couple of projects, so that's good. We get to spend quality time. Bless you, and thank you so much for joining us today with the Healing Through Love show. Same time, same channel, next Tuesday. Bye for now.